Hello everyone, welcome to Tech with Machines. Our today's topic is async.io, which is an extension of our earlier video, asynchronous programming. If you remember, we talked about asynchronous programming, which is a programming paradigm and allows to manage multiple tasks at the same time without each task waiting for one another. Async.io is a way to really deep dive into asynchronous programming. So, what does async.io really stand for? Let's Before we go dive into introduction of this async.io, let's understand if you want to do multiple tasks and you are at home and you have to do several things. You have to cook dinner, you have to do your work, and you also have to watch your favorite TV show. If you do these things one by one, it might take a long time. But if you use a little bit of magic called async, you can start cooking, then do some work while waiting for the water to boil for your dinner, and maybe even watch some TV during another break. This way, you can get everything done faster and more efficiently. In the computer world, async.io, asynchronous input output, works kind of like this magic. It allows your program to do multiple things at the same time without waiting for one task to finish before starting the next. It's especially useful for IO bound tasks, especially when program has to wait for something to happen like reading data from a file or querying a database. So, in nutshell, asynchronous programming can be developed using async.io module of Python. And how will we do that? We will go through a program as an example in some time. But what are the key concepts of async.io as well? We also talked about the key concept of asynchronous programming. They are pretty much similar, but we'll just go through them once more. So, event loop being the core of asynchronous programming, it is an infinite loop that continuously checks for and executes tasks that are ready to run. Coroutines are special functions that can pause their execution, and they let the event loop run other tasks. They are generally defined using async along with def in Python. Within coroutines or within asynchronous functions, we use await. Await is used to pause the execution of a coroutine until the task is completed. While waiting, the event loop can execute other tasks. So these are the main three concepts of async.io, which actually signifies asynchronous programming concepts and helps to do concurrency, helps to do better responsiveness, and helps to do better efficiency, or actually better resource utilization, especially for the tasks that are waiting for IO operations. So let's enhance our understanding by simulating a more realistic scenario where we fetch multiple pieces of data concurrently, process them, and save them in a Python program. So let's understand this Python example. What I have done is I have already created this Python example which is doing three different things. I have simulated fetch data, I have simulated process data, and I have simulated save data. So basically what we are trying to do is we are trying to fetch data with a delay to represent network latency. We are trying to process data again with a delay, and we are trying to save data similarly to with a delay, right? And we are using async.io module to do that of Python, and we specifically use asyncio.gather. This function is used to run multiple coroutines concurrently. It collects results from all the coroutines and returns them as a list. So it's a very important way of representing concurrency in Python, where you can actually run multiple coroutines concurrently. So let's go through them one by one, and we'll go step by step. So firstly, in our first function, as we said that whenever you are actually using async, it's about creating a coroutine. Coroutine can pause its own execution, unlike a thread. So coroutine can pause an execution using an await, right? So here what we are trying to do is we are basically trying to simulate a process or a function which is actually fetching the data from internet, and we are saying that there is a network delay of 2 seconds, right? And finally, when the delay is over, it's fetched data and it's returning the data which has been basically fetched. Then it processes the data. Again, there is a wait processing time, and finally it saves the data, and again there is a file writing time, right? Now we have a main function where we have just given 3 data IDs. We are trying to create multiple coroutines of fetch data, and we are actually executing them or running them concurrently using asyncio.gather. Same we are trying to do with the process, and same we are trying to do with the save, right? And finally we are running this main function under asyncio run. So let's try to run this. So this is how you actually write your basic async program in Python using an asyncio module. We in our previous videos also we have done multi-processing and multi-threading using Spinner, if you remember, and you can see here in the left side that I have those Python files now as well. But in this case we are using async to somehow simulate concurrency in a similar way, or parallelism, one part of piece in a similar way. So let's try to run this particular function and see what happens. So if you see here, it is basically doing the fetch of all three together, and then finally it's also doing process of all three data together, and then it's also doing saving of all three data together, right, concurrently. So this is how basically you can create and use an async and await keyword in Python, right? Now let's see the differences as well along with this function, or along with this program which we created, that what are the key differences we found in async and await. Just a summary of it. Let's wrap this video with a summary of what are the key differences between async and await, because they are the most common keywords used in asyncio programming, especially in Python. So after going through the definition and understanding how we can create asyncio program, or how we can use asyncio module in Python, let's break down the differences between async and await, which we just discovered. So first thing, async is used to define a function as a coroutine which can actually pause its own execution using await keyword. So in nutshell, await keyword is actually trying to pause the execution of a coroutine until that awaited coroutine or asynchronous operation is available. Coroutine is a special type of function that can be paused, resumed, allowing for asynchronous execution. When a coroutine encounters an await expression, it yields control back to the event loop, allowing other tasks to run. So this is the summary of asynchronous IO in Python, and what does really async and await stand in Python, and how you can use it. I hope you liked the video, and I hope it helped you to learn something new. Please like and subscribe. Thank you, and have a nice day.